above. Everything changes through the lens of love. Oh, come alive through the lens of love.
Praise be to God, the Lord led you here today. Welcome to Through the Lens of Love. I'm your host, Helen Eimers, inner healing and success coach, and a woman on an everlasting journey towards interior freedom. This is a space where we ask one question every single episode. What if you could see yourself, your life, your relationships, the way God sees you? That is our invitation. And I'm curious, have you ever been a Monday morning starter? You know, you decide to change your entire life on Monday morning, new workout plan, new diet, no more drinking, no more chocolate, no more anything fun, starting on Monday morning. And by 10 a.m. on Monday, you're already breaking all of the rules you set for yourself literally 2 hours ago, and you're on your 17th piece of chocolate. Or maybe you're in your husband's shop trying to find the chocolate that you mandated him to hide from you. Ever had this experience? I want you to know that this used to be me every single week. I literally lived as a Monday morning starter for years. That's exactly why my husband bought this book for me at a conference called Change Your Day, Not Your Life. I would have all of these exciting, fun goals and ideas, and I would make a new plan every week because last week it didn't work. Well, it wasn't the plan that didn't work. I wasn't working the plan. But I would be like, okay, well, that didn't work, so I'm going to change it up. And this is how it used to be with planners too. Have you ever gotten a planner from the store, like a calendar planner, and you have filled it out and you were so good at filling it out, you get dopamine hits. This is fun. Maybe you have your markers, maybe you have different highlighters, and then you never use it. You never show up to it. I did that for years, and I used to think, oh, well, that's just a shitty planner. That planner doesn't work for me. And then I got the Passion Planner and I showed up to it. I started doing the work versus thinking that the planner was failing me. It was me not showing up to the work. So I used to make this grandiose plan and I would say, okay, I'm going to work out. I'm going to eat healthy. I'm never going to drink again because many weekends I would be hungover. And by 10 a.m. on Monday, I was the one out in my husband's shop, like calling him, like, where did you hide this chocolate? And he's like, dude, you're crazy. Like, what is happening to you? You told me to hide the chocolate. I can't ever win, right? And so I know myself, and I want you to know yourself too. I have a very addictive personality. I used to drink and I chose to stop because I know that about myself. You can look at it two ways. I was either really good at drinking or I was not really good at drinking because I would drink way too much and get really, really sick. And my body just didn't love that. And so for the longest time, I thought that making change was all about willpower or more rules or more control. And if I change everything all at once, starting now, that's what would change it. Have you guys ever been there? I work with women who have beautiful ideas, who have big dreams, who have big goals. They're creative. And I know that you listening, you are like that too. And sometimes you hold back because you're like, well, yes, I have this goal, but I've failed so many times. So I'm just not even going to step into that because I've failed. I've heard that so often from my clients. Even just today, I was working with one of my amplifiers and she was working on her passion roadmap in the Passion Planner. And what you do there is you take a look at 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, 3 years from now. And she was like, I have all these ideas and like, I don't want to like write them all down. And I'm like, why? And she's like, well, because it's just too much and I probably won't reach them all. The point of goal setting and dreaming and having a vision about your future life or your future business or your future relationships, you want to dream big. You want to dream big and you want to put them all down and you never want to stunt your creativity. But then what you get to do is you get to get laser focused on one at a time. That's why I do the monthly mosh pit with my amplifiers, because we're like, okay, we have all of these fun ideas. We have all of these shiny objects, and we're going to focus on one this month. And we're going to be super specific, super strategic about what that means. And so I thought for years that the answer was more willpower. I just have to do better, right? I got to set up more rules for myself. Maybe I have to be harder on myself, more control. I have to change everything all at once because I wanted that 10 years ago. I wanted that 1 year ago, right? I didn't ever consider the thought that there is no final version of my life or business. I will always be growing. And when you have the belief that there is finality, that you will like eventually arrive at this magical place in this life here on earth, that's adorable. That's an adorable thought. Now, I choose to live my life here and do everything I can so that I can get to this beautiful kingdom of heaven. But here on earth, if you don't define what enough is, if you don't define what done is, you will continually be chasing it, which is what I did for years. And it was exhausting. And my husband saw it. And so he got me this book. And adding more rules, trying to have more willpower. What I found is if you just leave it up to willpower alone, like, God bless you. I mean, like, good luck with that, my dear, because we are human beings and we have human tendencies and there's human nature, right? We want to feel safe. We don't want to feel uncomfortable. So willpower is not a great way to be like, well, I'll just eat healthy and I'll just make healthy choices. If you don't have a plan to back that up, my friend, you're going to be back to Monday morning starting. So more willpower, more rules, more control. Didn't work. Not once. It didn't ever work for me. I just kept stacking it on. And then there was shame. And then there was guilt. And then there were limits that I set. And then there were like I was bartering with myself. And it just kept spiraling. And I kept trying to add more on because nothing was working. And so here's what I learned instead. I want to share what actually shifted things for me. Thanks so much for tuning into this episode of Through the Lens of Love. I am passionate about sharing what helps me activate each day in my life and my faith. In honor of that, I want to highlight this episode's sponsor, Pink Salt Riot. I was introduced to this company at the Encounter Ministries conference and felt an instant connection with Ashley, who is at the helm of this woman-owned Christian company. The mission of Pink Salt Riot is to create wearable daily reminders of the truth. I am in love with their truth bands. It's a flat band that's stretchy, cloth-like material that you wear on your wrist with beautiful designs on the outside and a mix of scripture and affirmations on the inside. They have kids, women's, men's sizes, and I grabbed one for each member of my family and was sure to stock up to have plenty on hand to give as the perfect gift. In their online store, Pink Salt Riot also has jewelry, stationery, stickers, and so much more. Every item is meant to anchor you back to who God says you are, especially when the lies get loud. As a way to share this light with you all, head on over to pinksaltriot.com and use the code LensOfLove10 at checkout for a 10% discount. And now, let's get back to the show. I stopped trying to change everything. And this book that my husband bought me was all about that. It says, change your day, not your life. And I was like, why would you not want to change your life? Duh. And I started reading the book, and Andy Core talks about the simplicity of changing one thing at a time, small little increments. And I don't know about you guys, but I am a high achiever. I can get stuff done. And I can do a lot of things. I can do a lot of things really, really well. And I know you listening, you can do that too. You're really good at a lot of things, which is why everyone seeks you out to do things, which is why everyone's like, hey, could you help me with this? And you're like, oh my gosh, yeah. And being good at a lot of things is amazing. And you get to channel that. You get to choose that. You get to build that inner capacity so that you're not leaking, so that you're not overwhelmed or burnt out or giving from a place of overwhelm or resistance. When we give from a place of resistance or resentment, right? Like, oh, I'm a people pleaser. So I said, yes, of course I did. On a call yesterday with my client, you know what I had her do? She had said yes to someone and she was telling me about it and like how I always do this. And I said, okay, get out your phone. And I had her text this woman and say, you know what? I said yes, right? She owned that she said yes. And then she just rescinded her yes. She said, you know what? I actually looked at this. I'm going on vacation. That date's not going to work for me. She did it on the phone and she looked like she was going to vom. She looked like she was going to throw up right there. And I'm like, take a breath. It's okay. And immediately when she sent it, she felt better. And then guess what? The woman responded. She's like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for letting me know. Have so much fun on vacation. Guys, we have to start doing this. We have to just pause before we're like, yes, I can do everything. And I had to learn how to do that. And I had to learn how to do that in small little increments and practices over time. So when I stopped trying to change everything and just started getting so addicted to the little things that actually supported me, that's when things started to shift. For example, when I started Beachbody, I used to be a Beachbody coach. That's how I started my coaching journey. I mean, really, it was back in high school. I remember I had a shoulder surgery. This is going way back, my friends. I'd had a shoulder surgery in volleyball. I think I was a junior. And that summer, whenever I had surgery, I gained like 40 pounds. Now imagine you're in high school, you already don't love yourself, and you gain 40 pounds. And what I did is over the summer is I created a plan. I started jogging. I started eating healthy. I started going to the gym. And like, I don't remember. I mean, there's a lot of people who have influenced me in my life, but I think I just like took ownership of this, right? And so there was a mom in the community and she reached out to me. She's like, "Hey, would you train my daughter?" And I was like, "Sure." Because they saw the change that I had made in myself. And she's like, "Well, Helen's doing this. Helen can do this." And so that's really where my love for coaching started and sharing that. And so it started in Beachbody 10 years ago. It's like, okay, like I'm going through a season in my life and I'm not feeling good. And I've had 2 babies and I feel so inflamed and I'm so tired. And so I was trying to change everything all the time, every single Monday. And then I would fall off the wagon, they say, right? And I'd be back in the bar. And so it started with a single workout program. It was like one very intentional, I think it was 30-day fix or 21-day fix, right? And so I knew exactly what I was doing every single day. And then, oh, by the way, just drink this one shake a day. That's it. That is it. No more. Stop. Stop everything else. No more. And I knew what to expect and I didn't have to think about it, right? Because our brains are already exhausted at this point when we really want to make a change. And when we really want to make a lot of changes, our brains are tired already. So give your brain a break and give it some love. See it through the lens of love and say, man, I see you working so hard. Let's just come here. Like, what would you tell someone like your child if they were like trying to do 10 things at a time? What would you tell them? You'd be like, come here, honey. Okay, let's start with this one. Let's work on this. Let's master this one. But yet here we are running around trying to save the world, trying to save ourselves. And so I made that my main focus. And that was hard because there were other distractions. There were so many other distractions, especially when I started. I could make an excuse for anything. My kids, I'm tired. I don't want to sweat and then have to shower and wash my hair. Like all of these excuses. You guys know what I'm talking about, okay? And I also started to do this with daily gratitude journaling. When I started a coaching program with my coach, Heather, she was like, hey, go ahead and grab this journal. And that's all I focused on was like every single day. That's it. That's like my main job number one page a day. And it started to change my life. Or my love for the gas pump. Let me explain. Have you ever said recently or ever in your life, like, oh, gas is so expensive or groceries are so expensive? Please stop saying that. Gas is this price. And when you have this fear or this overwhelming or this not enough, it just feels awful. So you can choose to say that. You can choose to feel awful. I mean, I don't know if you saying that actually changes the gas prices, you can let me know. So here's the habit I started because I was saying this. I was like, gas is so expensive. Like every time I go somewhere, blah, 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 blah. And so it's like every time I get gas, I touch the gas pump and I say, thank you. Thank you so much for getting me where I need to go. And some people think I'm ridiculous. My kids, right? They think I'm cringe, right? I don't care. And if I get in my car, I'm like, oh, I didn't give the gas pump some love. I'll like get back up and be like, thank you. Thank you so much. Do you know all the places I'm going with this gas? Do you know all the people I get to see with this gas? Do you know all of the ways I get to steward my energy and my time with this gas tank and this car? Oh my gosh, I love you. My car's name is Betty. I have lots of vehicles, and they are all named. Yes. Name things in your life. You will appreciate them so much more. And so that is my trigger. When I go to get groceries and I'm checking out and I see the total, I just say, thank you. This feeds my family. Or maybe I'm hosting and this feeds my friends. And I'm so, so grateful for this. How are you thinking about those things all of the time? And those can be the simplest little triggers. Like that's your one little thing that you can change. Every time you get gas, you say, high five, gas pump. I love you. Every time you arrive somewhere, tell your car, thank you. Every time you get groceries, you can say, thank you so much. And so I used to think that overhauling everything all at once was what real change meant because I was behind. Other people were further than me. I could see other people's success and I wanted to be where they were like 10 years ago. Okay, so this is the whole strategy. It's so simple. It's not always easy, but it's so simple. And you know why it's not easy? Because you're going to feel uncomfortable. You're going to want to go back to the old way. You're going to want to go back to the old thought. You're going to want to go back to a different space, right? So don't try to throw in 10 new habits. I know I'm sharing a lot with you here, and I'm sharing specific examples of what has worked for me as a way to help your brain open up to say, what is one thing I want to change in my life for the future, for future me? And what do I decide to do today about it? Just one little thing. So just one trigger, just practice the same way every single time until it's just a part of who you are. Right now, it's like the gas that my kids know. They're like, oh, yeah, she's like talking on the gas pump again. Crazy lady. That's okay. I'd rather be crazy than live in fear or live in anger or be frustrated. That's what I choose. Okay. So real change does not mean overhauling everything at once. Like I used to think that was what I needed to do with my eating, my drinking, my schedule, my mindset, all of it. Starting Monday every time. And it's like, why do we start Monday? Like, here's the thing. You can start anytime. I remember my good friend Megan, she told this story once and it just blew my mind when it came to prayer. And someone was talking to Megan and Megan said, oh, I'm going to add you to my prayer list. I'll pray for you tonight. Or something like that. Like, I'll pray for you tonight. I'll pray for you later. And the woman said to her, like, you realize you can pray anytime. And like, I think we like compartmentalize things, like especially with gratitude. It's like, I can be grateful for everything all the time, all day long. And I do that because I started small. I started with the gas pump. I started with the gratitude journal. I started with naming my cars and talking to them. Like I love them because I do. And so start small and know that like, why do we choose Monday? And I think it's just such a crutch. Like people are like, oh, when January hits, people tell me this all the time. They're like, well, I think next month or next year. And I'm like, oh, that's adorable. That is so adorable that your brain feels more safe. And we do as humans. We're like, oh, there's like safety in this. Okay. So what happened was that every time I tried to change everything all at once, it collapsed by Monday afternoon, a lot of times by Monday at 10 a.m. And again, what's actually supported me is choosing one thing, just one, and staying with it until it's not a rule that I'm like forcing anymore. It's just who I am now. It becomes my new standard. I like to say we don't rise ourselves to our goals. We lower ourselves to whatever standard we're setting. So what are some standards, some principles, some values that you have in your life? And every single time you'll like lower yourself to them or you'll rise the standard and you can keep rising along with that. You can keep ascending, I like to call it. That's from Brendan Burchard. Brendan Burchard talks about ascendancy and I love when he talks about that. And so the magic piece that most people forget about is making it fun. I have a sticky note over there by my window. It says, are you having fun? Is it fun? Are you getting curious about how you can make it more fun? Have you tried to make a game out of it, right? One of the things I love to do that helps me create habits is setting my timer. My watch, I don't really even know what it does other than find my iPhone and set a timer because I set 10-minute timers all day long. And it's like, okay, I'm going to get this done. And it helps me focus. If you could imagine, I am not by nature a very focused person. I have a lot of ideas. I've got a lot of energy. I got a lot of stuff going on. I want to do it all at once. And so I've gotten to learn ways and create habits around those beautiful gifts that I have. And you can do the same thing with yourself. So make sure you're making it fun. And if you are exercising, for example, if you're not having fun, How could you make it more fun? What could be different? Maybe you try a new pre-workout to go with it. Maybe you go get coffee afterward. I don't know what it is, but make it fun. And that will change everything. So you can start with making changes 10 minutes a day or less. Or less. If you have read The Miracle Morning, you can even do it in 5 minutes a day. And that's like 5 things in 5 minutes. Holy shamoly. So The Miracle Morning is one of the books that I read also that really changed my mornings. I used to say I was not a morning person. Like I would go to my grave with that about 10 years ago. Not a morning person. I would literally sleep through my alarm while my husband got our 2 small children up and got them ready for daycare. I couldn't do it. I'm like, I can't do it. I can't get up, can't get up, can't get up. Well, I kept telling myself I couldn't get up. I kept telling everyone I wasn't a morning person. I kept telling myself that this wasn't possible. And so your thoughts play a huge role. And because I couldn't get up and do all of the things all at once, why even get up at all? Ever had that thought, my friends? But I want to share some math with you because math helps to just kind of allow you to have a different grasp on things. If you're awake for 12 hours a day, which means you're sleeping 8 hours a night, which raise your hand if you sleep 8 hours a night. Amen to you. This has always been a goal of mine. Right now in my life is the most sleep I've probably ever gotten in my life, maybe other than when I was a baby. Because when I was really in burnout mode about 10 years ago, I was sleeping about 3 to 4 hours a night. I didn't see any problem with that. But yet you can see the problem with that because I couldn't get out of bed and I was exhausted and I was just forcing it in complete burnout mode. So you don't think there's a problem with it, but there is a problem with it. Okay. So let's say you're asleep for 8 hours. Yes, let's do this. Let's get there. And you're awake for 12 hours a day. That's 720 minutes that you're awake. If you take just 10 minutes of that day, set a timer on your watch to build one new habit, like one trigger, one pause, one moment of gratitude, that is 1.4% of your time. And this is why I love to teach women to be good stewards of their time because we walk around all day saying, I don't have time. And I'm like, you got plenty of time, my love. You have plenty of time. You have 720 minutes a day. And that's if you are sleeping 8 hours. If you're not, you got a lot more time. What the heck are you doing with it? That's it, 1.4%. That's all it takes to start. And also, what I love about the 1.4% is it doesn't just stay contained to that 10 minutes. It ripples. I love the ripple effect. If you do one small thing, it ripples into your day. If you practice gratitude, I guarantee you're going to be more grateful throughout your day. If you walk for 10 minutes a day, I guarantee you're going to have more energy throughout your day. And it helps you with everything else that comes at you that day. So if you show up in those 10 minutes, you're going to show up as a better human being, a more vibrant human being, a more grateful, a more energized woman in the other 710 minutes too. The way you talk to your kids, the way you handle a hard conversation, the way you see yourself in the mirror. One small faithful thing creates a ripple effect that touches everything else, even though you only gave it 1.4% of your actual time. And really, that's how the gas pump became a habit. That's how so much of my healing has happened, is just little pieces at a time, not through some big dramatic overhaul, through one change held very consistently. So small that it barely registers as effort, and yet it changes everything around it. Think a ripple, and it just goes out. And here's the part that took me the longest to believe. This isn't just a productivity strategy. It is a faith practice too. Every trigger, every small habit, every little thank you whispered over something ordinary like your finger or your hand or your car or your eyes or your breath. It's a practice in staying present to what God's already given me instead of just white knuckling my way towards some perfect version of myself that I'm convinced I have to become by force or by a certain date or because someone else is doing it or someone else told me to do it. And when I realized this about gratitude, that it was a prayer, a beautiful thank you to the Creator, I just want to do it even more. And this is also this percentage part that we talk about, that I'm talking about here, has also changed my marriage. Because several years ago, we started to implement date days. And I love to do the math on this too. Okay. So if we spend 1 day a month together out of 365, that's about 3.3%. If you are not willing or open to spending 3% of your undivided attention with the person who you married, who you have kids with, who you have a relationship, who you know so well and so deeply, I want you to look. I want you to take a hard look at your priorities. And so you don't have to start with a whole entire day. You could start with an afternoon. You could start with an hour. It changed everything for us. And so everything you commit to in small pieces and small chunks, and then making that a habit and being consistent and proactive, it is being such a good steward of your time and your energy and your influence that were given to us from the good Lord above. And like my wise husband always says, how you spend your days is how you spend your life. So I just want to leave you with this. What is one thing, not 10 things? Yes, have all the ideas, write them down, but then choose one. Just choose one, 10 minutes actually, that you could actually build into your day this week. Not to change your whole life, just to change your day. Let me know what it is. Find me on social media, message me, send me a screenshot, ask me about it, bring it to me. I want to hear, I want to support you, I want to celebrate you in your change. And next week, I'm sitting down with someone whose book changed my life over 10 years ago, Andy Core, the author of Change Your Day, Not Your Life. He has a PhD in performance psychology, and over the past 25 years, he has poured his heart and soul into helping humans figure out exactly why they don't do what they know they should. Insert me for most of my life. Why do you not do what you know that you should and what you want to do? And he shares actually what works to change your life. You do not want to miss this one. Until then, keep seeing yourself, your life, your business, your relationship through the lens of love. The Lord brought you to this episode for a reason today. If you felt seen, that was meant for you. And if something stirred that you've been safely tucking away, don't let it go back into hiding. Bookmark this episode, re-listen, or share it with a woman who needs it. The ripple effect of shifting yourself and then sharing with others, that's why we were created. Be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and come find me at HelenImers.com. Until next time, keep seeing the world through the lens of love.
Oh, come alive through the lens of love.